So there's talks, conversation that Japan's government wants to go ahead and regulate the Japanese Pokemon market. Now, for the most part, most people collecting, investing, and using Pokemon for their financial wealth don't really care about Japanese. Everyone's really looking at the English side to go ahead and boost their monetary collection to increase the value of their collection. And like I said before, there's nothing wrong. You do whatever you want with your money, with your spare time. But if you're over there thinking to yourself, hey, possibly let that happen, let that happen. If the Japanese government wants to go ahead and regulate the Japanese Pokemon cards, the English side is going to be fine. Mm, I don't know about that. There could be some long-term implications if the Japanese government actually does regulate their product. Because remember, Pokemon cards, Pokemon in general is their product, so they can go ahead and release the licensings to whoever they want to. But Nintendo or Pokemon being Pokemon, they will do whatever they can to go ahead and maximize their value, maximize their profits, if you will. But enough about that. Let's go ahead and talk about where we're seeing this kind of stuff, where we're getting this headline. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and pull up an article by the Japanese Times. So this is what it reads. And bear with me. I know I'm gonna fuck this shit up, so please, please bear with me. All right. From the Japanese Times, Japan weighs regulating Pokemon cards amid trading mania. Japan, the home of Pokemon, is beginning to weigh regulation the booming card market. As value soaring into millions of dollars fuel counterfeiting and money laundering, trading cards are no longer simply consumer products. A ruling of the Liberal Democratic Party group set up to look into the issue and said in a statement, the market's rapid expansion and the growing asset values of trading cards have given rise to problems that cannot be ignored. The collecting and trading of cards, once a pastime confined to schoolyard, is now a lucrative global market. Fierce demands has driven up prices to the extent that a single card can be worth millions of dollars. In February, a rare Pokemon card owned by YouTuber Logan Paul was sold for more than $16 million. It's like whenever we talked about this, I told you that that auction was going to have long-term implications to the hobby. No one was really believing me, or for the most part everyone kind of knew, right? But it was a Japanese card that has set the record, and this is kind of like big news, right? Because it's not an English product, it's not an English collectible, it is a Japanese product. The domestic market grew by 90% from like 21 billion in 4 years to 2025. I'm gonna go ahead and stop reading it there because I'm afraid some big words are coming up and that's just gonna fuck me up. But look, we talked about this before too. As people are using this hobby to go ahead and increase their financial wealth, people are talking about it as a big asset. Like millions of people are doing the hobby, big money has entered the hobby, and it's too much for either the Japanese to ignore or even for the Western Hemisphere, the US market to ignore. If one starts regulating the product, you can go ahead and expect that the other is going to follow suit. And that could have big implications to the people who are already in the hobby, whether if they're collecting, flipping, selling, or whatever you guys are doing, whatever is your involvement with the hobby. This could potentially affect you. It could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing. But all right, so let's think about it. Let's say Japan is going to go ahead and start regulating the Pokemon market. Like, what does that mean? What is that entail to? Well, look, for Pokemon's most important line is not how much the cards are being auctioned off to. Yes, that is important because big numbers usually attract new eyes. Pokemon's main line is going to be what they sell to the consumers, and not necessarily to the consumers, but to their distribution centers. In Japan, to their card shops, because they operate very, very different. Over there, brick and mortar card shops in Japan can go ahead and put direct orders to the Pokemon company and get their product from there, rather than in the English or in the American side where you're contacting a third-party distributor freaking remix distributor, so you can go ahead and get Pokemon product. So this could be a good thing or bad thing, because whenever we're talking about it, and you guys are seeing it now, you're seeing people already open up the 30th anniversary, and people are questioning, how is this happening? How is this happening? And usually one of the biggest things that a lot of people say is like a lot of backdoor deals, and we love the backdoor. deals, especially if you're married. You love those backdoor deals, as you should. But they're doing backdoor deals. Obviously, organized crime is gonna be involved. Like, people want to believe that Pokemon's this innocent hobby, but you're having people in South America, we've already talked about, killing other people, shooting other people for Pokemon cards that could be just worth $100, but over there $100 is way more than what it is here in the United States, or maybe even to Japan. But we talked about it before in this channel too, that the Yakuza has a big influence in the Japanese market, where it's hard to prove, but reports, people are whistleblowing over there saying, hey, the reason why some of these prices on some of these Japanese booster boxes are so high, it's because the Yakuza are using Japanese booster boxes to do big transactions. And that's really crazy to think about. Like, we really don't want to be thinking about that in this hobby, because think about it. If the Yakuza is doing illegal crime and using Pokemon cards as a way to do some big transactions, we don't know what they're really doing. Yes, people want to assume it could be drugs. It could be way worse. It could be human trafficking. We don't know, but these would be things that the Yakuza could possibly be doing. Same thing in all the other parts around the world. The Yakuza is basically, a Japanese mafia, but we have mafias in different places, different organized crimes. And not to even mention that Pokemon cards can be very easy, can be used to launder money. It could be one of the most efficient ways to be laundering money now at card shops. I wouldn't be surprised here in El Paso if we have certain card shops that are laundering money to the cartel using cards. It could be counterfeit cards. It doesn't matter. It could be a cash business, but this is a real thing. So it is probably in the best interest that Pokemon, or like the government, does regulate the hobby. However, with regulation, there's going to be significant impacts that me and you, whether if you're a collector, whether if you're a scalper, a flipper, a reseller, someone who's doing a business of Pokemon cards, what do I like to call them? Ultramanors, is that right? Is that how you guys pronounce it? Ultramanors? Yeah, the people who are trying to do businesses out of Pokemon cards, the entrepreneurs, you guys are going to be affected. But how can the Japanese government really regulate the hobby or the Pokemon cards? Look, the thing is, one of the things that we really don't want the hobby to do, Pokemon to do, is by making Pokemon cards serialized. If they make Pokemon cards serialized, this is going to be two things. They're doing it for two reasons. Reason number one, it's going to be way harder for people, organized crime, scammers, whatever you want to call them, to do counterfeits. Serialized cards are going to can be used to go ahead to battle against counterfeiting if we're having a big issue like this. And maybe to you, if you're a raw binder collector, this is where you should be worried about, because if you're going to different card shops around the places, you're putting a lot of trust that in that staff that all these card shops are having are experts in different eras of the Pokemon hobby, that they are doing a good enough job to authenticate the cards that they are buying from the population where that Pokemon shop resides at. It's one of those things that not a lot of people talk about, right? But like I told you before, in my city, we've seen at least 10 different Pokemon shops open up in the last 8 months. Every single shop is going to have a morning crew or an afternoon crew, or just like 3 or 4 people. But these are regular people from the community, from the towns. Are they experts? A lot of people jumped into the hobby because of the monetary value. So there's a good possibility that the people who are working at these card shops are there to get the best cards for their collection. But they don't know anything about authenticating WotC era cards. Modern, hyper modern, mid-era, there's different things. There's the best test that you can do is go ahead and rip a card down the middle and look for the line. But are you really going to be doing that with every single card from every single potential client that you're buying from? Absolutely not. Wouldn't be surprised if the Japanese government would try to do serialized cards for the hobby in order to kind of regulate it. Because of this, You gotta understand that probably the government or in shops are probably gonna be instilling certain protocols to prevent from scalpers from other people to really benefiting from the hobby. The Pokemon's main priority, main lines of profit are gonna be what they sell from the main company, from their printing facilities to the brick and mortars. You know, because from the brick and mortars, whatever they sell to them and whatever the brick and mortars generate, like that's different, right? But whatever they can sell to the brick and mortar store, that's going to be the most important thing. However, it's in Pokemon's best interest to go ahead and get their product to as many people as possible, and especially to the younger generation. I had this conversation with Scalper Chris and Ripping Robert, and as I was telling them that right now during the Mega Evolution era, Perfect Order, Chaos Rising, and Pitch Black are very important sets. They're gonna go ahead and determine the growth of the hobby. Like I was telling them, like those sets are not meant for us. They are based off a Mega Evolution game targeted for kids. They didn't introduce any new Pokemon. They went ahead and introduced a very popular gimmick and, and on the Switch for little kids to play. You guys gotta understand that Pokemon is not targeting millennials, boomers. They're targeting the younger generation because if they can hook the younger generation and their product, then they know they're going to have a loyal customer for 40, 50 plus years. It's a longevity game. They want to survive. They want to stay here for longer than just 10 generations. We're probably going to be looking down at this hobby 20 generations ends whenever there's 2,000 different kind of Pokemon. We don't know when they're going to stop. This is kind of like an insane franchise whenever you really think about it. It has been franchises. It has gone longer than franchises consistently than franchises like Dragon Ball Z or like Dragon Ball, and that is a very long running franchise, a very popular franchise, and it's still going strong. Pokemon is setting new records, new boundaries. They're insane for the things they're doing. But going back to regulating, it's going to be in their best interest to go ahead and get that product to the younger generation. Therefore, right now when people are saying that these three sets suck, not necessarily, because people like me are taking advantage to go ahead and buy this set at retail price and ripping it with your kids, because you know that the MSRP or the value per packs is closer to MSRP, or if not at MSRP, than something that is worth twice its value. So, well, guess what's happening? People my age are opening Pokemon product with their kids, and that is a very, I guess, topical or a very hot topic right now during this time. But kids are getting involved in the hobby, or they're still involved in the hobby, but they're finally getting to open a Pokemon product with their parents, with their siblings. They're making memories with these boxes. Yeah, it might not be popular down the road, but if you've opened up these booster boxes, these ETBs, these packs with your kids, there's a good chance that your kids are gonna grow up 30 years down the road and be like, oh, the Mega Evolution was the best era I've ever had because I was ripping the most Pokemon product with my dad, with my mom, with my siblings, with my friends during this time. And people don't forget about that. People just want that instant gratifications. If you're a true collector / investor, you're in this hobby for more than 5 years to maximize any kind of gains, if we're really being honest, right? So with that being said, one of the best ways they can go ahead and, I guess, get more product to people is coming up with a system, which they're trying to. The Pokemon Center is already trying to do a system where you buy like a lottery system where you gotta be lucky to go ahead and buy Pokemon product from the Pokemon Center. And they can do the exact same thing with brick and mortar shops. They can have a system that goes ahead and scans your ID and puts a ban on any kind of transactions with your name for the next 24 hours. Don't be surprised with the lengths that these companies will do to protect their product. If you don't believe me, look at what Pokemon or Nintendo are already doing with the video games. Whenever you're going to be buying Generation 10 Wind and Waves, you will own a key not the physical game. You will not own the physical game. You will get a physical cartridge, but that is not going to be the game. Why? Because they don't want it to be made copies of. They don't want it to be what's it, pirata, made copies, something with pirates. You know, esa chingadera, right? They don't want that shit. They don't. So they're already doing that. You know, video game companies, including Nintendo and Pokemon, they rather sell you digital copies than the physical copies. Don't be surprised if they're going to be asking for your ID so you can go ahead and purchase product. And you know, whether if you're doing GameStop or if you're over there in Japan, whatever main retail store you guys have, if you have to scan your ID and it puts a ban under your name and you won't be able to get any kind of product. Why? So they can limit scalpers, they can limit, and this is limit, right? Organized crime getting their hands on their product. And like, trust me when I'm saying this is not a foolproof system. There's going to be get-arounds. People are going to find ways to beat this. People are finding ways to bot the Pokemon Center all over again. For a while, the Pokemon Center was one of the best areas to get product at the MSRP after this bull run, but botters have made it impossible all over again. If you were there fighting for the 30th anniversary, you know, Pokemon Center's ETBs, you know. If you were there for the pitch black one, you know. It's been bad at the Pokemon Center, and they're going to do whatever they can to go ahead and limit scalpers or organized crime to go ahead and get their hands on Pokemon product for easy. But don't get me wrong, organized crime and scalpers will always find a way. Now, with that being said, let's transition to the next part of today's video. I'm going to show you guys the cards that I went ahead and picked up for the week. But look, these are going to be some of the cards that I've been able to collect for cheap, and I'm having fun doing so. And like always, I like to collect, you know, Japanese, but I'm also not stopping at English cards. So starting off with one of the first cards, and this one's going to be in really bad condition, so I know this is not gradable, and this is going to be Hoopa V. You know, in the English side, I believe this is from Crown Zenith, and Crown Zenith is a fantastic set, but like Hoopa is a great looking Pokemon, and this V card from the Sword and Shield era looks amazing. The texture in the Japanese side looks crazy. You really can't beat that. I like, whenever I see this card, I enjoy it. However, I know, like, let's see, there's gonna be a little dent in the bottom left corner, like it's lifted right there. You guys can see it, it's lifted, so that's not gonna help it. And in the back, 2 white dots. So I know it's not gonna grade a 10 with tag, so it's not a gradable copy, but it's definitely a binder copy, even though I wouldn't be opposed to send it a grading so we just can keep testing tag, but whenever grading is affordable. For me, you guys already know I'm a big Gen 1er, and I like to have my Pokédex mastery, so I got Jinx from one of these upcoming artists that I wanted to talk about, and I'll make a video dedicated to that artist. But you not gonna suck, I believe that's her name, or something like that. You got no suck, you know, kind of shitty. But this card really is amazing. Like, simple card, light colors. You got Mount Fuji in the background, so you got some cultural references back there. Like, this is a beautiful looking card. Like, for Jinx, a generation Pokemon that is not super popular, but this could be argued to be said it's the best Jinx card that they have. Now, generation 1 Pokemon, like, I have 3 rules. You buy holo cards, especially if they have a swirl, Black Star promos, and stick with very popular generations. Gen 1 is being one of them. You can't argue about it, but we are talking about Ammonite by Yano Kenji. Now, the Ammonite for 151 is going to be one of those cards that's going to be cheap, but it's crazy whenever you have Ammonite, Kabuto, Almost Dark, and the card itself. I wish it had Kabutops, because that's one of my favorite Pokemon, but they don't. But they also show reference to the fossil of Ammonite right there in the bottom left corner, or that could be just a shell of an Almost Star. But that's cool. Like, this is a cool looking card. Overall, great. If we're looking at the quality, it's Japanese, so therefore an easy 10. Easy 10 unless we see for print lines. No print lines. Certified 10. Calling it. Master setting, one of my favorite sets. And that's going to be Night Wanderer or Shrouded Fable. But like Pheasant Deputy, I kind of want to look more into that card by Keiichiro Ito. Keiichiro Ito seems to be doing some pretty good solid cards. But Pheasant Deputy having a big culture significance in Japanese culture, I kind of want to dive more deep into it and see if any of the cards that illustrate Pheasant Deputy, if they make any references to Japanese mythology, Japanese lore, Japanese culture, if you will. But overall, Pheasant Deputy looks great. Honestly, whenever I saw this card, I thought that this was a promo card for Kung Fu Panda. Is that what they're called? The one with the Dragon Warrior? Yeah, because don't they have literally this bird as one of the nemesis in the last movie? I mean, like, come on. So you know that there's lore behind this Pokemon or this animal. So I want to look more into it, honestly. One of my fan favorites, or a lot of people's fan favorites, we're looking at Alolan and Diglett. Great looking card. Great looking cards, simple colors, very bright. The only thing that kind of worries me about these kind of cards, if you're looking to grade, is that whenever they're simple like this, I would say that they have like dead hollow. We're talking about the blue, like it's all one color, so very simple to illustrate, very simple to draw. But whenever it comes to the printing process, its errors, its deficiencies is most likely going to be very simple for them to be like popping out. But overall, the copy looks pretty good. I see like maybe an indentation right in the middle, but overall, not a bad copy. Talking about great copies, we got Arbok by Okubo. Now, honestly, great looking Arbok card. And look at the Toucannon. Simple colors. I like these kind of cards. Simple art, simple colors, just very cartoonish, just like what Pokemon really is. This is great. I would love to play a Pokemon game with this kind of art style. It's its main, if it's main thing, kind of like Paper Mario kind of art style. I think that'd be insane. But from one of the best illustrators in the game, the GOAT, we're talking about Tetsukayama. Big fan of Tetsukayama on this channel. But come on, look at that art. Look at that pointillism art. Little dots everywhere to make the art for the coloring. That looks great. You can't tell me you don't like that. That looks so sick. Now, not an expensive card, not a popular Pokemon, but whenever it comes to the art looks great. Talking about art, the second card, but Hyunogo Soke, right? We got the Nene from one of the newer sets, and I believe this one's from Perfect Order, and it's a great looking card. Pikachu clones do well if you're looking for investment values, because they end up being fan favorites to a lot of like little kids who play the game, and they get their Pikachu clone introduced to them. But this is a good looking card. Great art, simplistic, a lot of orange, a lot of yellow. It's a different pace. But I was having a conversation with one of the subscribers, Pars, and one of his things is saying that the Mega Evolution era is not doing great art. I don't know what kind of shit he's smoking. It's not the right shit, because look at this clay doll. This clay doll goes so hard. I don't know how you can't say the art on the Mega Evolution is lacking. Look at that. It's by far one of my, there's no reason why clay doll goes that hard, but I'm glad that it does, because sometimes all these other Pokemon that not a lot of people actually play or use in video games, unless you're doing like Nuzlocke rules, really get to partake in using that Pokemon. You know, ground psychic, great typing, great art. Like this, like the blue on this is by far one of my favorite cards in the Mega Evolution era. By far. This one and like Chesspen. I think Chesspen, great looking card. But talking about video games, let's talk about one that just hit a 10-year anniversary right now. And like I mentioned before, it's one of my favorite games. It's what really kind of got me back into the hobby of Pokemon and like just video games in general. But we're talking about from the Pokemon Go, we got the Radiant Blastoise. Look at that texture. How can you not like Japanese fucking texture on these Pokemon Go cards? You got a shiny Blastoise with insane texture. Like, bro, come on, that's nice. Oh, oh, that's what I can say, you know. But like, if you're gonna be going with Blastoise, you gotta complete the set. And of course, we got the shiny Venusaur from Pokemon Go. Like, I'm telling you, like, no, I'm not gonna tell you, right? I don't know why I say that. I guess it's like one of my ticks, right? But Radiant cards, or like the Pokemon Go cards, these look amazing. Look. Boner activated. Honestly, great looking card, you know. But if you get the Blastoise, if you get the Venusaur, you gotta go. You have to collect Charizard. You kind of have to. You get a shiny Charizard, a black Charizard, if you will, and in the same set. Look at it. It still looks good, but I'm telling you, nothing beats the Blastoise. The Radiant Blastoise from the Pokemon Go set. The blue just looks amazing. Blue holo cards just look better than any other kind of color cards. Now, someone also suggested like, oh, they like swirled cards. And one of their favorite cards was the Black Star promo Entei from the movie. And I managed to get my copy, and if we look right there at the fire emblems, there's a swirl there. Now, I'll be honest, my copy is not that great. My copy I was able to get for $15, and if you look at the back, if you see the back, it's all jacked up everywhere. And if you look at the front, a lot of scratches. But for $15 for a promo, you know, with a swirl, an iconic card, you know what? I'm not going to be too mad. It's a binder copy. I wouldn't be opposed to getting it graded and just having it to see what kind of grade it would be. If it got like a 4, I think I would be happy. Probably do better than a 4 though. But the back is effed up. But sometimes I just want to grade even shitty cards with tag so I can see like, oh, this would, in order to get a 2, this is how fucked up your card has to be. If you want to get a 3, a 4, a 5, you know, these are the criterias. Other than whatever they say on their thing, I also kind of want to know, like, visually. I'm a kinesthetic learner, like, or visual learner, kinesthetic. I need to have it in my hands, right? But Japanese cards with the swirl, baby. Look at the next one. Look at the next one. And look at by its foot. There it is. There's the swirl, baby, on this Japanese Wiglet. Not a bad looking card, you know, not bad. The back is not too bad. The front's not too bad. But what we do have to see is that if we look by the ear, there's a nasty scratch by the ear that kind of prevents this card from ever possibly getting anything higher than a 9, possibly even an 8. You know, can't see it, but like, look at the color. Oh, I love it. I love stuff like this. I really, really, really do. Now, for the grail of the show, for the grail of the week, holos, promo cards, holos, swirls, right? And I got one so good. It's from Generation 1. It's the starter. I already showed you the final evolution, so that means it can either be Squirtle, Bulbasaur, or Charmander, and because the video's coming up, it's fucking Charmander. I picked up this card extremely cheap for $5, but like the biggest reason why is look at that galaxy swirl, baby. Oh. If you follow me on TikTok or on Instagram at Cosmo Hollow Dan, then you probably already seen this card, but this is such an amazing card. Like, how do you not like swirls? Oh, oh. Honestly, it's been a fun. I've been having such a blast collecting cards like this, because I know there's other people who enjoy these kind of cards, but showing it off to you guys, makes it great. And outside from that, in the background, I was able to get some sealed product too for Pitch Black, because I do think that Pitch Black is probably a better set than Chaos Rising and Perfect Order, right? Even if it's the fastest one to auto correct, it's a great set. It's going to be a great set, especially for the Mega Evolution era. But we will find out what the other sets do and how the other sets do. But later down the road, we'll probably be talking Pitch Black as one of those underrated sets. Outside from that, if you guys enjoyed today's episode, if I kept you company in the shower, on a car ride, or somewhere, hey, please consider hitting the like button. If you like this kind of style of content, please subscribe. I kind of want to get a little bit more consistent, and I should be getting more consistent because work is no longer going to be taking majority of my time. Subscribe, send me a message, drop a comment. I like to reply and argue with you guys. Sometimes I'll just be arguing for the sake of argument, but you know what? Not everyone in this Pokemon hobby needs to kumbaya and get along. Sometimes we need someone to be our rival, if you will. And if you want me to be your rival, I'm always going to be here. Let me know. Outside from that, I do hope that you guys have a fantastic day, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.